Hello, my name is Martina. I'm coming from Comenius University in Bratislava, and in this presentation, I would like to share with you some ideas how to build a successful massive open online course. Even though these ideas are rooted in an MOOC research, I believe that many of them are also applicable in a face-to-face, online or branded learning, so I hope this presentation will be interesting and helpful. Generally, we will talk about 4 principles which make a massive open online course successful. About the learner's control of MMOC, also about problem-based and active learning, and about the approach to assessments and assignments. Massive Open Online course is a course which is meant for many students in an online environment. It's free or almost free, and it's open to anyone at any time. And the only thing students need is internet access and, of course, self-motivation. Actually, many of these courses are provided by top-ranked universities, and they have hundreds or even thousands of students. And of course, there are hundreds of these courses, but not all of them are successful. And talking about the biggest challenges, there are actually 2, customization and personalization. Many students can feel lonely and unmotivated as they are in this online environment, and there is no real classroom with peers and teachers. And we can imagine that as a result, many of massive open online courses suffer from low engagement, low retention rate, and all over dissatisfaction of students. So what we did, we decided to dig into the research focused on these challenges, and we found that there actually are some patterns which differentiate successful and those less successful massive open online courses. The first and the most important observation is hidden behind the term learner's control of a massive open online course. And actually, it's also the most important conclusion from this presentation. Students are different with different learning and skill preferences, and we should accept that, which means that we should deliver to every student right content at the right time instead of delivering the same content to everybody. What we need to do is to allow students to study according to their own personal learning plan. And even though that we carefully plan the structure of our course, we should not force it to our students. We should allow them to take as small content module, as small content part as they need, and afterwards we should help them and navigate them to the next resource. And this resource, of course, can be part of our course, but it can be also part of our colleagues' course, or it even can be any online or offline resource. To support this approach, we of course need smart and helpful navigation. And one idea how to prepare navigation which creates content which is easy to reach and scan is to use visual diagrams and mind maps. And the last recommendation is related to the presentation form, video. We all know them and many of us like it. And we know that it can be a great resource how to present the content of our course, but it's not the only possible resource. There are so many other options. There are text-based resources, infographics, activities, webcasts, video conferences. And again, there are many students with different preferences and not all of them like videos. So more flexible we are, more students find their way through our course. Second principle of a successful massive open online course is built on problem-based learning, which naturally motivates students to think and to challenge themselves, because students and general people love if they directly understand how they can use their new knowledge. To promote this principle, we should use relevant, real-world based problems. And those problems we can enrich by our own experience and even by our own mistakes. In that way, we can bring our content and ourselves closer to the students. However, those real-world problems should not be used only at the beginning of the lecture, semester, or the beginning of the course. After some time, motivation of students gradually decrease. And to boost it, show students value of your course. Give them as many practical applications as possible. Always focus on meaning and sense-making rather than on quantity of information. And if it's possible, build your content progressively and try to adjust it to your students' needs. It actually was proved that the repeated massive open online courses are less successful than the new one. And one possible reason can be exactly this. After time, we forget that every new group of students is different from the previous one, and we just don't adjust our course anymore. The last recommendation is again about diversity. To increase it, we can invite our colleagues as speakers or discussion partners to our lectures. It makes lectures more interesting and again boosts students' motivation. The third principle of a successful massive open online course is rooted in an active learning. Key to a successful active classroom is actually in our hands because students highly appreciate if we care about them. And even though it's more challenging in an online environment, it's very important to find time for our students and give them that feeling that we are there for them. We need to support them and give them strong belief that they are competent and capable to progress in our course. It could be great if we can always give students prompt feedback to their work. But as there are many students, useful tip is to pre-record answers or explanations to selected questions. Another proof strategy is an encouragement strategy. Send an email to your students and remind them their goals and the practical usage of your course. And try to motivate them to share their ideas. The last two practical tips are to increase direct interactivity of your massive open online course. So to explain content, use step-by-step instructions, which are challenging but don't overwhelm students. And you also can use Socratic questions which are provocative and motivate students to think about the application of their new knowledge. In video, you can use in-video embedded questions. Those are the questions which stop the video and require some cooperation from student. The last principle of a successful massive open online course is about assessments and assignments. And if there is only one thing you will remember from this product presentation, remember this. Don't use assessments and assignments to show students what they don't know. Try to use them to help students to study and learn. Great assessment should of course be closely related to past lectures, but it also should be meaningful and enjoyable. One tip what we can use is something like building a game. Thinking about the difficulty, assignments should not be easy nor too challenging. Students especially don't like easy questions that just summarize information. Instead of that, assignments should motivate students to think and apply what they had learned. What is very helpful, and we can easily do it, is to allow students to discuss their homeworks and assignments unless they provide a full answer. And we also can use group work. Even in an online environment, we can try projects, but with dedicated and facilitated students' roles, and one controversial idea, group writing tests. To increase efficiency and time accuracy of an assessment and feedback, we can use peer and self-assessments. And actually, it's a great way how to support cross-students learning. And the last recommendation, a little flexibility with deadlines, which actually costs nothing, but it can be a great help for students who enroll later or have some unpredictable issues. Here I am providing some resources for reading, but if you're interested in any specific topic, please feel free to contact me, and I might be able to help you to find appropriate research. Thank you for your attention and wish you a nice Open Education Conference.